Hey everyone, this is the LEGO City 2021 Wildlife Rescue Operations set. It's the second largest of the sets in this new sub-theme. Now this one is truly a proper play set because you get a decent selection of figures, a good selection of animals, a vehicle, a flyer, and a good amount of terrain and structure, kind of location build. There's of course a lot of interest in the new animals introduced with this sub-theme for this year, and if I remember and find the time, I will do a separate video just comparing the elephant to the old one that we got many years ago in the Adventurers line. But this one is, it's pretty good looking, I think, just on static display, and they have a couple different options for how the tusks are done, the small ones for this set, and then there's a longer tusk set in the other set that has one of these new elephants. I think especially around the back, the shaping here is really good and very accurate, to the source material, to a real thing. But the sides feel very Duplo-like to me personally. Just this whole large flat space is not the greatest. The shape, just the kind of the profile, the silhouette here is very nice, but all that flat space is not so great. The head though, I'm very happy with, and there is some articulation here just in the neck. So you can bring the head down like so. You can also angle the head up just to there, which is pretty good, and also highlights just how good that profile and how good that silhouette is of the head itself. And you can also rotate the head from side to side or combine the two. So this can rotate this way, can rotate this way, like when they're shaking their head and shaking their ears. The ears don't move, of course. The trunk can be rotated around also, so you can bring it in like that, which is not a bad look. And this just has a Technic pin connection up in here. There's no articulation in the body whatsoever. The baby elephant, on the other hand, is the cutest thing. And though it has absolutely no articulation, I think it's pretty dang perfect. It's cute. It is pretty accurate in its shaping as well. It has a single stud on top, so you could potentially put something on there if you want. It also connects to studs underneath has anti-studs on it. And even though it's so small, its trunk will hold something that is bar-sized, and you can adapt many things to work with that. The little eyes are, they're adapted to the Lego style, but they look realistic enough to me. The little mouth under there as well, I like. And just open that up so you can see that a little bit better. This is good. This is not a new set of molds for the alligator or crocodile, which years ago I decided to just call a crocagator so that we don't have to fight about which one it actually is based on the shape of the head and position of the eyes and da-da-da. It's a thing, right? It's a one of those. But I believe the regular green color, the classic regular green color, is new this year for this mold set, and this looks great to me. This is done absolutely fine, just giving us a new color that totally makes sense. Is good. It's a little bit classic in that, the previous one I think was originally done. The original dedicated crocodile/alligator crocagator mold was done in just this regular green, and so it's nice to see that again, and it works well enough. You got the mouth that opens all the way, closes up, and also has a bar-sized hole on either side or in the front so you can have it holding a fish. This monkey is a new mold for 2021, and they have two color schemes that they've offered up for it thus far. And these are dual molded with the dark tan and light nougat colors together. So the production work is stellar here. The printing for the faces are also very good. I covered these in detail in my review of the ATV already, so I won't spend too much time on these. But I will just repeat for folks who haven't seen the ATV one. I don't like how the hand is done there. It always looks like it's just reaching out to ask for something, to ask for a banana or something. But this set does show you a couple of ways to use that. You can also hang it from a branch, like it, using its prehensile tail. But just the pose isn't ideal to me, and there's no articulation here whatsoever. There's also anti-stud on the underside, plus enough clearance for this to fit on a fully studded base, or a fully studded plate. This feels pretty generous for LEGO these days, just in terms of the amount of space of terrain that's included and usable. Now, they do make us pay for that, but I'll talk about value later on. Just the expanse of this is really nice. They don't do this very frequently anymore, and I miss, ground. I miss terrain, usable space with studs on it being included in sets. So this is actually nice that it exists in the first place. It's an interesting contrast here with the regular green colored foliage and then lime green for the the base color to represent like short grass or something like that, that maybe is late season. You know, it's not super vibrant, but overall I think the colors here look nice. This is the first time, this year is the first time we've gotten the relatively new road plate in the dark tan color here, and this is dark azure to represent some water. That works out pretty well. You got some foliage around the water side, and also there's a built-in action feature that kind of makes sense, because you can have like monkeys climbing around on this, or you can have other animals down here, and they can get injured if the tree falls over. There's a little actuator over here. It's unfortunately red, doesn't need to stand out that much, but it is what it is. You push this down, the tree falls over, and then it hits the rocks as well. And depending upon exactly how that's set up, because these are not intended to stay there, but you know, you can get sometimes I've had some luck with the rocks moving a little bit more. It's not happening so much right now, but the rocks never really shoot out. But this is an effective, simple enough thing that, again, feeds into the story and the scenarios, and I think provides food for imaginative play in a good way that's not too intrusive, that doesn't force kids to play in a specific way, and just having all of this space you can use however you want. Of course, you can move these things around, you know, change the shape of this. I think that's pretty good. I also really like this new print for an egg piece that represents a crocagator that is hatching. Now that print is only on one of the 2 eggs, but I think that'll be useful for a lot of folks in the future, and will probably most frequently be used to represent a hatching dinosaur. This is a little rescue team hut, which is set up pretty nicely. I think this is pretty appropriate. Makes sense for the context of it to not have big walls, you know, to just be very open air like this, almost like essentially a tent set up. And they've got a little power panel over here to make sure that they can get some solar panel for their instruments and to keep their phones charged and everything. You can see an egg in an incubator over there, so you can help the crocogators to, you know, if one egg gets left behind or something gets lost, you can help them to still hatch. Got a couple of water jars down below, or I don't know, there might be something medicine related. In the center there is just a small microscope, and there are some petri dishes, including some additional ones in the shelves over there. And there's also just a little spot where you can take a small rest. That is a single large sticker on the top, and unfortunately the sticker backing color does not match the regular tan color. I think this is a new color for this large, almost square, slightly rectangular flag piece in tan. And this is easy just to flip up to give even easier access to pose minifigures down in there. As you know, LEGO loves their helicopters, and this set includes a pretty large one. I think this is the first time that we've gotten this particular canopy piece that's been around for some years now in tan, so I'm glad to see an additional recolor. This has just a small number of stickers, so that's a sticker right there. I made sure to place it pretty close to the corner. Sticker right there. There might have been something, the same ones are on the other side. This is actually a print though that they introduced for this theme for this year. Canopy, as usual, comes up. Of course, you can spin up the main rotor. Canopy comes up, and there's just a single seat and a little console there in the front, but no control stick or control sticks or anything. You can see this does have a winch in it, and that's accessible from the outside very easily. And right now I've just got what it's connected to, or the end of it, connected to the underside of this. And you can just free that up, and that lets you let this down to hook onto anything that either has a bar or an anti-stud on it. You can also open up the back, thankfully, for something this large. It should have plenty of cargo space, and this has a decent amount. This is empty right now, but you could potentially put something in it. And there are a ton of bananas included in the set for the monkeys. That cargo area is completely smooth on the inside. It's a 4x6 space, and nothing will get caught in there. So for the space that they made available, they made it the most usable possible, I think. And then there's this small tracked truck that holds just a single minifigure in its cab. The tracks, surprisingly, are not too stiff. You can actually run this along, and the tracks do what you want them to do. And traditionally, things that have these tracks on them have often kind of preferred to skid along. You know, they haven't been loose enough, but I think the material is soft enough and works pretty well. Here's another one of those crates, so you could potentially put some cargo in there, or you could store the chain, which is right now connected to the front, in there instead, and that has another hook on it. So you can use either of the hooked things in this set to move the boulders, the big stones, or to help remove the tree or put the tree back up, straight up and down. This has a pretty simple interior, just a seat and a steering wheel, but a little bit of a luxury is the small console in the front. Here are 2 of the 4 figures, and I especially like the one on the right because of that torso, which is light aqua with teal accents, including teal hands, and there's no logo on it. It doesn't have to be specific to just the wildlife rescue theme. It's also gender neutral, so it can be used with any different head. It doesn't even have any skin tone in it, so you can put fleshy heads on it, whatever you want. It's just super useful. It's so well done in that sense, even though it's fairly simple in its design. The one on the left, also gender neutral and can be swapped around just fine. However, that one does have the prominent rescue logo on the back, which I think reduces its usefulness in the long term. Also notice on the right, the sand blue colored legs. An alternate face here, that looks really good. I like that face. And no alternate here, but I do want you to see both faces just clear and unobstructed. And then these 2 show you the other 2 new torsos for this theme. Each of these, unfortunately, does also have the prominent logo on the back, but these look really good on the front. Perhaps you could use these for other purposes if you put a backpack on each, but there's that. Got the dark tan and the regular tan. Nice hairpiece over here. I think we haven't gotten that too many times yet. Really like the visor setup for the pilot. Unfortunately, does not have any alternate face under there, but there's just that generic face to go with that one. And these are the leftover and extra pieces. I think the banana was supposed to probably go in one of the crates, and as you can see, the sticker sheet was pretty small for a set of this size. I had to pay $90 US for this at retail, and the set comes with just 525 pieces, which means that the price to part ratio is really, really, really bad. Main reasons for that are the inclusion of a large animal, and LEGO always charges a lot for large animals, but then there are a couple of, you consider them to be medium-sized animals as well. Again, they always charge you more than you expect for animals, at least in my opinion. And then frankly, these road plates, even though they're recolored to represent other things, LEGO already showed us in their first wave of city sets with the new road plates that they will charge a lot for them when they include them in sets. That said though, I don't feel ripped off here for this on the whole. I feel like this is a very well-balanced play set. I feel like it captures a lot of the general goodness and possibility of LEGO for kids, the intended market. They give you some kind of starter ideas, some scenarios, but there are plenty of possibilities to expand beyond that. They give you the tools for imaginative play, for creative play. Just this open space here with its varied terrains is really nice, and having the tree there as well, whether you use the action feature or not. Having the rocks there, some kids will use the rocks, I don't know, to like throw them at things or something. I don't know, there are a lot of possibilities. This is so open-ended, can be used for so many potential imaginative play scenarios. This is just a truck. Turn those stickered panels around and forget the fact that it's even related to wildlife at all. You could use this for all sorts of utility things. It's got a little bit of cargo hauling capability. I really do think that this helicopter is larger than it needs to be here, but at least it does have a decent amount of usable cargo space in it. And it also has that winch in there that I think that the winch function takes up more space than it needs to, but it's useful, again, for things beyond just this set and beyond just picking up this tree in particular that they show on the box, or moving these around, which they show this tugging around. Like, all of this stuff can be used for other things, and nothing is too in your face that this has to be used for this specific purpose, other than the fact that they've got these logos on the backs of the torsos. So overall, I'm very happy with this. I feel like this is a very nice play set for 1 or 2 or 3, maybe even 4 kids, who can work together with this. And it's very easy to add to as well. It's also very easy to reconfigure the terrain here because they're not connected with too many studs. You can change the shape and everything. This is good. This is what LEGO is all about, in my opinion. I am happy with it, and I'm not even mad at the price. Cheaper would be great, of course, but as it is, there's a lot of value here for its intended recipient. So those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll talk to you again soon.